speech that covers human interests, you can make that speech work.
Do you change it as you go along?
I do it all the time.
Yeah, so it evolves.
Love and marriage. According to that song, I'm pulling it from a couple of years back. According to that song, they go together like horse and carriage. But according to my papa, sometimes you got to be the horse, sometimes the carriage. But at no time you must ever behave like that part of the horse that faces the carriage. Madam Toastmaster guests and my fellow horses and carriages. And you go on from there. You grab the opening, well, how you open that presentation will set the stage. But try to make it as universal as possible. One of the speeches I did many years ago, I don't think I could remember it, but it clearly demonstrates the how you should title your speech. Now, some of you did your foundational statements and your speech titles. Okay? One of the titles I used many years ago in a speech was The Silent Game. The Silent Game. Henry Miller. Henry Miller, The Silent Game. And I started that speech. What did I just do?
Looks like baseball.
Baseball! It was a speech about baseball. But I didn't want to use the word baseball because it may divide my audience. People who love baseball, people who don't like it. But what I was able to do with that speech was to explain that there are the science is what makes that game so interesting. And if you could understand the signs the coaches give during the game, you will begin to enjoy it a lot, or even enjoy it a lot better, the silent game. And sometimes you will see they do all of this and then they do, which means forget everything I just told you. So, again, you don't want to give away your entire speech with a title. But if you can come up with a title that would have your audience thinking, what is that all about? That makes it a lot more interesting. That sets up the expectation. So when you get on the platform, your audience will be already thinking. And then you're going to start with the power pause. Even more expectations of it. Get it? Now, in my preparation here, as you prepare, I would strongly advise that you study the points distribution, which is the second bullet I have here. The points distribution is very important. Okay? Wouldn't spend too much time on that. Purpose, again, we're getting closer to the foundational statement. What's the purpose? Why are you going to even take 5 minutes or 5 to 7 minutes of your audience life without giving them something to think about, something to think, feel, or do when you're finished speaking? So it's very important for you to have a purpose. Anyone would like to share the purpose they had when they thought about that foundational statement and speech title? Was it to inform? Was it to entertain? Was it to persuade? Anybody?
Can it be more than one? I mean,
Yeah.
I think they can kind of inform and motivate.
It can do all of them in a presentation. But when you've got to be clear. When you're speaking to inform, be informative. When you're speaking to persuade, yeah, or when you're speaking to entertain, which leads me to something that is not on there, but it's very, very relevant. Body language. You see, when you make a point, after you make that point, you got to send the message. You got to send the message. And you can do that with body language and a pause. One that is very common is the use of ear glasses. Let me see if I can remember an example. Can you recall a time in your life when you felt like you had a brilliant idea, one that could change the world? But just as you began to reach for that dream, you made the biggest mistake of your life. You went seeking advice from 2 of your best friends, Mr. and Mrs. Always Right.
I know them.
Who were quick. That's it.